Thank you very much for staying with us here this morning. Our top focus, nearly a month after the Supreme Court set March 6th as the deadline for SBI to give information to the Election Commission regarding the details of those who anonymously donated to political parties via the Electoral bond scheme, the State Bank of India has requested the top court to extend the deadline until June 30th. The central bank has sought additional time to comply with the court's directives, citing the complexity of the task at hand. Now, as per the Supreme Court judgment, SBI had to submit to the EC the entire data of electoral bonds purchased by 6th of March. Now, this included names of purchasers, denominations, and names of political parties. My colleague Harish joins me for more inputs. Harish, as far as the Supreme Court giving this directive, how do you now see this pan out considering this extension has been requested for? Right, we'll try connecting with my colleague Harish to essentially tell us how this will pan out legally speaking. But remember what the SBI is saying in terms of seeking more time, says practical difficulties with decoding exercise due to stringent measures to ensure identity of donors is kept anonymous. Decoding of the electoral bonds and matching of donor complex process as well. I understand Rajiv Rai of the Samajwadi Party, National Secretary and spokesperson, is joining me on the broadcast. Mr. Rai, I appreciate you taking the time out and speaking to us here on Mirror. Now, how do you look at this?
It's very obvious. Don't you think that the SBI, it is all computerized? This is funny when they say that it will take so much of time. I mean, this is the biggest scandal BJP government has played to get black money to white for their own party. And asking, requesting the Supreme Court to give time to the 6th of January is very clear that they want that election to be postponed because they know if it is revealed before the election, it will be a bombshell. It will damaging to the BJP. So this is the only reason, and I hope and pray that Supreme Court will not bust to their request, and it must be opened just before the election. Let the country know. We have, as a citizen of this country, we have a right to know before we go for a vote. It's making us fool that once we vote, then we come to know on 6th Jan that this is the party to whom we voted. So it is the right of citizens, right of the voters, and right of the nation to know. Now the Supreme Court should not burst. That's the only request and pray to the Supreme Court and let the country know.
Right, Mr. Rai, I appreciate you joining us on the broadcast and sharing with us your perspective as to how you think this is panning out. And ultimately, it is the right of citizens to know the same. But let me also get in my colleague Harish joining me to really understand, legally speaking, how this is going to pan out. Harish, very good morning to you. As far as what the top court had said and given a directive, we do understand that SBI has asked for an extension. But if you could just help us understand now, legally speaking, how will this pan out?
It's a day, as you rightly said, a day left for Supreme Court set deadline is to expire. In fact, the Supreme Court, the State Bank of India has moved Supreme Court, as you rightly said, seeking extension of time till June 30, 2024 to furnish information regarding electoral bonds to the Election Commission. Remember, as per Supreme Court judgment, SBI has to furnish the information to ECI by March 6, that is tomorrow. Reason regarding the reason for seeking extension of time, SBI says there are practical difficulties with the decoding exercise and the timeline fixed for it due to stringent measures undertaken to ensure that the identity of the donors was kept anonymous. Decoding of the electoral bonds and the matching of the donor to the donations made is a complex process and time consuming. That is why more time is sought, and data related to the issuance of the bond and the data related to the redemption of the bond was kept recorded in two different silos. No central database was maintained. This was done to ensure that donors' anonymity would be protected, and donors' details were kept sealed at some branches. They were later deposited in the main branch of the applicant bank located in Mumbai. So these are the grounds cited by SBI seeking extension of time. This matter may be mentioned before the Chief Justice at 10:30. We'll have to wait whether SBI gets more time or not. Back to you.
Right, Harish. I appreciate you getting us the latest inputs, the remarks that were made earlier, and also, of course, telling us to keep a close eye on how this would pan out. But I also understand Shashank Shekhar, Supreme Court advocate, is joining me. Mr. Shekhar, I appreciate you taking the time out and joining us here on Mirror Now. How do you really look at this right now? Would there be loopholes and challenges, considering the deadline's also just around the corner? How do we really see this pan out, legally speaking, now?
Well, by agri details, I guess. In fact, if SBI was planning as such to move such application before the Supreme Court, they should have done it earlier. But moving this application just before the deadline, it's a clever move on the part of SBI. Now it's up to the Supreme Court whether they are going to dismiss the application or grant further extension till 30th June to the SBI, or they will adjust dates, let's say in the month of April or March. But the whole purpose of the information was to bring these information related to electoral bond in the public view. So if SBI is anyhow taking time to just extend the time till 30th June, then the whole purpose will be defeated. Hello?
Right, Mr. Shekhar. I appreciate you joining us on the broadcast and essentially also questioning the timing with which SBI has now raised these concerns. But for